All right, John, I got kind of a, I guess, I don't know if this would be a math question, but this would be a technical question for you.
Okay.
How many stickers and decals do you have to put on your rig before you're a true off-roader?
I mean, it's totally dependent on how much horsepower you want.
Is it like a sticker per horsepower?
Something like that. It's a half to 1 point system.
And now, does it work better if you do like some of the car shows where they have the decals under the hood? So like when you lift the engine, the decals are closer to the engine and it makes more horsepower? Is that how it works?
You know, I never thought of that. I think that's why they put the flames on the front, though. So I think that's where you get the most effective horsepower from flame stickers.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't you paint the flames? I guess they have. You
can do both.
Yeah, they got the flame stickers.
Yeah. One's more temporary and reversible, the other's not.
I just have decals on the mind right now because producer Andrew has been whipping up these awesome decals for Wheels in the Woods.
They look great.
Yeah. Have you seen the color ones yet?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, those
are
are
awesome.
Those are going to be pretty cool. He's got the participant decals. He's got the ones for Wheels in the Woods specifically. The participant ones, you have to be a participant at Wheels in the Woods to get.
Excellent. So I got one coming.
Oh, yeah.
At least one.
You're going to be bringing a couple rigs, aren't you?
I'm hoping to have both of them. I'm starting to question Project XJ right now. I'm running into some minor delays that might cost me my timeline.
Well, tell you what, why don't we talk a little bit about Project XJ, and let's talk about Wheels in the Woods and a few things that are going on in our own worlds here in just a second.
That works.
It's time to hit the trail, lock in those hubs, and throw it into low range. Because you are listening to Wheelin' with Keith and Johhny Orange, broadcasting from the Thin Line Off-Road Studio. They're here to talk about 4x4s, trucks, and everything to do with enjoying the great outdoors. Buckle up. Here's your hosts, Keith and Johhny Orange.
Okay, so what's the delay with Project XJ, John?
Well, running into issues with the trans mount, mainly. I was having issues getting the transmission installed. I just couldn't get it to align properly to install in. It cost me about 3 or 4 days messing with it and 2 pilot bearings before I finally got it installed.
Did you do the black powder trick I told you about?
No, that concerned me a little bit.
Oh.
So I got the rental loader tools from the local auto shop.
All right.
Yeah.
You wimped out on me. You didn't do the black powder.
No, I'm sorry.
All right. But the trans is in now?
Finally, yes.
Transfer case in?
Not yet, no. I'm running into issues with the trans mount now.
Okay, so let me back up. What's wrong with the trans mount?
I bought the wrong one about 6 years ago when I was collecting parts for it.
Can't you just go down to like your local box store and just buy a trans mount for an XJ?
I mean, I could, but then I'm using factory parts on something I designed and planned for aftermarket. I'm running all polyurethane mounts on this thing, man. I want as much power as possible out of it. So
polyurethane mounts give you power?
They reduce some of the give that the rubber mounts have, so you feel a little bit more of the power. You rattle a lot more, feel a lot more vibrations from the drive line, but a lot of the power that's absorbed into the rubber mount as it torques gets more transfer through. It's probably a really minimal amount, but they also don't break down and wear out like the rubbers do.
Why don't you just do like the NASCAR cars do then and just weld the engine right to the frame mount? No mounts whatsoever. Just like have...
I can't really weld aluminum to steel.
Solidly mount. Make some mounts, solidly mount. You don't want to do that?
A little bit of give.
Oh, okay, fine.
I had it planned for that, so that's what I want to stick with.
Is it going to be out at Wheels in the Woods?
I'm doing my best.
I thought you had a deadline. You had to have this thing done.
Yeah, I kind of blew that about 2 weeks ago.
And no one has shoved it out of the garage or off the property yet?
There's been discussions, and we'll just leave it at that.
Oh, all right. Well,
I'm doing every little thing that I can.
You only got 3 weeks left?
Like 2.
2?
Yeah.
Is it getting that close?
Yeah.
Well,
it's coming up September 28th.
Yeah.
It's just over 2 weeks away.
And this will probably be without looking at a calendar, this is probably the last podcast before Wheels in the Woods that's going to upload. Is it not?
We should have one more.
Oh, one more after that?
Yep. Yeah, we'll have one more, and then that'll be the week of.
Okay, and then we're gonna try to actually do a podcast from Wheels in the Woods as well, or at least do some recording, and we'll see if it works out for an episode.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I'm still really excited about Wheels in the Woods. I hope Project FJ60 is there. I still need to go through the rear axle. I've been really busy at work. I'm going to go through the rear axle. I may end up bringing it there with my beat up doors and everything else that I was going to try to get fixed in time.
Just trailer it. Have it as is.
Yeah. That's one way of doing it.
Do it as a display of trail carnage.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of that.
Yeah.
Wheels in the Woods, we have talked about it. We've plugged it. It is our event, so it's, we're going to keep talking about it. Wheels in the Woods is a fundraiser car show for the Museum of Off-Road Adventure. It's put on by them. It's not put on by Wheelin.
Correct.
But it is put on by the museum. This will be the second year. Like we were saying, we're going to have a lot of different decals that you can get. We'll have
all
some
limited
door
edition
prizes.
stuff, too.
Yeah.
So it's only available at the event this year. Next year, it'll be something totally different.
Did you hear, I don't know if we've got the news over to you yet. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, that it looks like we are going to be able to have a raffle as well.
I did not hear that. Awesome.
So producer Andrew looked into that, and we have a couple of folks that are willing to donate some very high-end items for a raffle. We've got to work out the final details of the raffle. If the raffle doesn't go through, it looks like we can still do a silent auction.
Oh, cool.
So
Very cool.
either way, there should be some pretty cool items there that people can either raffle or auction on, and that's kind of a neat thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's not to me, the most exciting thing, of course, is just getting everybody together again and, doing the public judging, having people come out.
Oh yeah. Good family event. Get everybody out there, check different things out.
I'm pretty excited too to see what happens with the Power Wheels race.
Oh yeah.
Or the Power Wheels rock crawling.
That'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah. So folks, whoever's listening here, I know there are events like this around the country, and each one's a little bit different. But what our plan to do here is to do the Power Wheels event for the little kids, and it's ages 12 and under. You can bring any Power Wheels you want. You can bring a modified one, and that's something that is. I've talked to people in the past that have tried to go to Power Wheels events with modified Power Wheels, and people tell them that they can't bring it there because it's got too large of a battery or too large of an engine or whatever is in it. But the Power Wheels event that we're doing is going to be very similar to a points-based system in a rock crawling course or a rock crawling competition, where they're going to start out with so many points and then they'll be deducted for backing up or hitting an obstacle. They're only going to be timed as a tiebreaker purpose. So, it's not how fast they can get through, but it's how efficiently they can get through the course without, getting extra points knocked off.
I like it.
So, hitting obstacles and things like that. Now, it's not going to be super crazy. I mean, we're talking Power Wheels. These things are two-wheel.
Nice and simple.
Yeah, there'll be a little bit of elevation for them. There'll be tight turns, and I think the kids are going to have a blast.
Oh yeah,
I hope they do. I hope there's no crying.
I make no guarantees.
Have you ever been to one of those Power Wheel demolition derbies?
I've seen them at like the fairground demo derbies where they do the race and get all the kids like cutting in and out of everything. It's pretty
usually
funny.
like a balloon on the front and back, and they got to pop each other's balloons. Yeah. I always love going to the one here in town when they have it, and inevitably there's always some kid that cries because they didn't win.
Yeah, I mean it happens.
So I'm sure it's going to happen here, but
I'm excited to see the RC rock crawling.
Yeah,
that should be pretty cool.
I haven't had a lot of feedback as to folks that say they're going to come, but I hope they do. Of course, if you're listening and you're an RC fan and you're the only one that shows up, you're just going to automatically win by default. So
I think we still need to make them go, though, just so everybody can watch it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So we've got some broken concrete. Shouldn't have to do any more climbs than 3 or 4 inches. Pretty much a out-of-the-box RC rock crawler that you can buy online or at a box store should be able to complete this course. Sweet. Your regular RC car that's meant for pavement is not going to do it, so you do need to have something that's meant to do a little bit of this. 4-wheel drive preferred. They do make 4-wheel drive ones. You probably could do it with a 2-wheel drive one with some balloon tires. No guarantees. I don't even have an RC car. Do you have an RC car?
I don't, but I know a guy. I don't think it works, so he kind of broke it not too long ago.
Oh, yes, it's no good.
Yeah.
I've been asking around, and nobody I know has them either. So,
man, I'll talk to him. He might.
We'll have the course set up.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully it's not too hard.
Yeah, we can always change on the fly.
If we have to.
Yeah.
You going to be one of the spotters?
Maybe. Well, we'll see what's going on that day.
I know we got some of the museum volunteers and things like that. Some of the kids are going to help out. So
Yeah.
should be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Wheels in the Woods, what else we're going to have this year? I know we got a lot of sponsors.
I know we're talking about trivia for that, too.
The trivia
contest.
Yeah. So for the 4x4 trivia contest, here's how this is going to work. We're going to have 1 or 2 points in the day where folks can come up and they can get maybe 3 points in the day where they can get a sheet. And it's going to be just like an old, bubble sheet in high school where you're taking a test, and it's going to have...
Oh, Scantron?
Yeah, not a full Scantron. We don't have a Scantron machine yet, but, you'll just circle some answers, A, B, C, D. You're going to be given multiple choice answers for questions. Where the idea is this is not going to be fast enough time for anybody to be able to Google this or to use their phones. We're going to try to keep them from cheating. And you're probably going to have 80 or 90% of your questions are going to be multiple choice, and then we're going to have some where you have to come up with the answer.
I hate those ones.
Yeah. Well, you usually do a trivia night that you go up to at a local bar, like on Wednesdays, right?
Yes, sir.
And it's kind of the same platform. I'm taking from this platform. I like that.
Yeah, he used to do it all multiple choice, but it got to be too much of a challenge sometimes with tiebreakers, so they started adding the fill in the blank kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it definitely made it more interesting, that's for sure.
And those are the tough questions.
Yes, unfortunately. Some of them.
Now, what I'm thinking, for our trivia contest, we need to give several of our trivia questions need to be old Wheelin episode trivia questions.
I like that.
So, and then the answers.
I like that.
Folks need to go back and listen to the old episodes because we give away in the following episode or the episode after, we give away the answers.
I like it. I like it a lot.
So make sure you go back, listen to the old episodes, get those trivias. Yeah, I think there's probably in the neighborhood of 10 or a dozen questions that we've done trivia so far.
Thereabouts, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we'll have them all, but we're going to have some of them. Make sure you have, listen to that. Wheelin listeners, you're going to have a 10% advantage possibly.
Sounds good. What I like, it's not too expensive of an event. $10 per carload. So however many people you can cram in a car, they get in for $10 total.
Yeah, we had chosen to do that. If you remember back when we did our first meeting for Wheels in the Woods, some charity car shows and things like that, they only charge the participants, the vehicles. We understand that. This is on a private property where there's some expense incurred to the museum for rentals and things like that. So we do have to charge an admission, but there's another show I've gone up to that's north of here, and I think it's like $8 or $5 a head.
Oh, so that's a little different.
It can get expensive.
Yeah.
You show up. See, I got a big family, a lot of kids. I show up with 6 people. Or 8 people, and it's a $40, $50 bill.
What you need is a trench, a couple long trench coats, and you just have them, sit on each other's shoulders.
Cartoon style. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, perfect. The car load is what we came up with. So if you can pack 20 people into your old station wagon or your Suburban or whatever it is,
we're going to take pictures first off.
Yeah, we are. Come on out. It's only going to cost you $10 per car load, and really that's just covering the parking. So we have limited parking.
And of course, if you're active police, fire, military, or first responders, let us know, and we're going to waive that for you.
Yes, absolutely. We did that last year. People were appreciative of that, and they understand. This is a fundraiser car show. We're raising money for the museum. And it's not just
cars either. There's going to be ATVs. There might be some motorcycles out there. I'm working on getting a sand rail to come out there. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of different stuff, not just cars and trucks and Jeeps and stuff.
Now, I don't want to read over all of the awards. We are actually posting them daily on the event page on Facebook. But if you go to the website wheelsinthewoods.info, that's what it is, right? Not info at Wheels in the Woods. It's wheelsinthewoods.info. Yeah, wheelsinthewoods.info.
Yes.
If you go to that, it will direct you to the Facebook event. And at that point, you can take a look. And every single day at 10:30 in the morning, another one, it's a countdown to the show. Another one of the awards is popping up, and it's showing you what the awards are. We've got Best Original 4x4. We have, Sand Machine, Best Sand Machine, Best Mud Bogger, things like that.
I like it.
Now, here's something that I really like about what the board did with this show, different than other car shows. Most car shows, you have to go into and you have to pick a category that you want to be judged in.
Okay. I've only been to one car show my whole life, so.
What?
I've only been to one car show.
One.
I entered.
How can you wait? You have lived within 60 miles of Detroit your entire life.
Yes.
And this is the Motor City capital of the world, where every big boy, every mom and pop restaurant, every small town has a cruise-in or a car show pretty much every single weekend, and maybe every Thursday or Tuesday.
Yep.
Every single day from like May to September.
Yep. And I've only been to one. And it was one that I entered, so it doesn't really even count as going to it.
I don't even know how this is possible, John.
I'm sorry.
I've been to hundreds. Well, okay, so in the hundreds of shows that I've been to, typically they make you pick a category, or they make you pay for various categories. So let's say the entry fee is $30 for your vehicle.
Okay.
You know, you go in and you want to be judged in 2 categories. They make you double pay. We're not doing anything like that.
Good to know.
The public is judging what category you're in.
So I have a chance at something, is what you're saying.
You do.
Excellent.
But what's funny is you can win in a category that you maybe shouldn't even win in.
I know the one you're talking about, that ugly duckling.
No. Now I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like last year at Wheels in the Woods. We had best military vehicle, went to a vehicle that wasn't even a military vehicle. Guy showed up with I think it was like a civilian version, like 52 Dodge Power Wagon.
Nice.
You know, it's like a farm truck.
Yeah.
But it happened to be military green. And for whatever reason, people just voted it best. I'm pretty sure that was the winner. So that can happen, but you can win multiple awards.
Be okay if it's a funny one like that.
Yeah.
Best motorcycle, but I have 4 wheels.
Well, yeah, there you go. Well, actually, yes, that happened last year as well. We had no 2-wheeled vehicles show up.
Oh.
But there was a best motorcycle category and a guy with a 4-wheeler, and there was several 4-wheelers.
Nice.
A guy with a 4-wheeler won best motorcycle.
I like it.
I mean, people do kind of call them bikes and stuff, so
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense. But
whatever works.
yeah. So, last thing on the judging, there is no celebrity judges. The board is not judging. People that are involved with the museum are not judging. Everyone that comes in the door, kids included, we hand them a judging sheet. Go have fun. Turn in the judging seat by this certain time.
Absolutely.
And so it's completely judged by the public. So you can't get mad at me. You can't get mad at Johhny Orange. So you can't get mad at the museum folks because the public is choosing the awards in these categories.
Sweet.
Yeah. What else, John?
I know we're planning to have a big swap meet there. I don't know how many people we have planning to come out for that. If you got some parts you want to barter or trade or try and sell, we've got that available. You can reserve a spot for that.
Sure.
So it's a little bit of a separate space from the show area. But we do have spaces available. 10 by 20 foot they're doing?
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Do you remember last year you didn't make Wheels in the Woods?
I was unfortunately unable to.
Do you remember me texting you, though?
I do. You're texting me about some Jeep parts or something.
Yeah, so we had a guy show up for the swap meet last year, and all he had with him was pretty much in the back of his truck an entire dismantled Jeep XJ. Oh. I mean... That's all he brought. Now. That is all he brought with him.
Nice.
He had this truck full of an XJ he had taken apart, and he had the whole dashboard and the interior and the engine. And
you remember what year it was?
Last year was 2018.
The Jeep.
Oh, the Jeep. No, I think it was a 97 to 01 version.
Yeah, I needed controllers off.
Yeah, well, so he shows up and he's got like this engine in the back of his Jeep, and I'm like.
Okay.
I'm like, and this is the first year of the show, so the swap meet was kind of small. The show was kind of small. He sold the engine and a bunch of other stuff, and he's like, "This was great," you know.
Nice.
I was like, "Oh, good for you, man. Yeah. Good for you." So yeah, I texted you some pictures. He had fender flares and stuff, but you didn't want any of that. I remember.
Nah, I'm good on that.
Yeah, but that goes back to what we were talking about on our last episode. Some of the fads of the past that fender flares is something that.
Yeah.
But, well, John, I think we've kind of touched on most of the Wheels in the Woods stuff. I know it was kind of a long bit for Wheels in the Woods. It's not really museum news. We do actually have a little bit of museum news that I'd like to touch on briefly.
Well, I do want to add one more final detail on Wheels in the Woods before we switch topics
What's
here.
that?
It is September 28th, and it runs 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yes.
So make sure you get out there, and was it by 3 o'clock we need all the judging sheets turned in?
Yeah, and you can be on the grounds as early as 8. So if you're coming in and you're setting up your vehicle, if you trailer your vehicle in and you need time to unload and get everything staged, you can be on the grounds as early as 8, but we are asking for judging purposes that your vehicle is on the ground by 10 a.m.
That works.
Yeah, so
anyways, moving on.
Yeah, let's take a quick break, John, and when we come back, there's some museum news I want to talk about.
Sounds good. See you in a bit.
Have you heard the good news? Now there's a local paper that people just can't seem to get enough of. It's the Thumbprint News. The Thumbprint News is free and full of interesting stories that focus on what's important in our lives. Stories that touch on this area's rich history, unique places, and the diverse cultures and people. You'll be in the know when you read the Thumbprint News. Go to thumbprintnews.com and read the paper online for free today.
Welcome back to Wheelin with Keith and Johhny Orange. Before the commercial break, we were talking about Wheels in the Woods, and now we're moving on to some other news in the MORA.
Yeah, well, our museum minutes, as we've been calling it. I am really excited that our AMC Eagle is finally back.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That'll be nice to have that space taken back up again.
Yeah, it's under that beautiful banner that Andrew, the producer, put together for us a while ago. And
I didn't know you actually made that. I thought the guy brought that.
It's a reproduction of of an actual AMC banner that would have been in like a dealership in the 70s.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's why I thought it was original then.
Yeah, it does. It looks original, doesn't it?
That is awesome. Yeah.
I like that.
Very cool.
It's back. It has been all detailed. It went out to the AMC Nationals, where it actually placed some awards.
Oh, very cool.
So it'll be back for a while. I don't know how long we're going to have it back here. I would like to do an AMC Eagle episode in the future because it is a very historically important vehicle in the development of all-wheel drive and crossover vehicles.
Sounds good.
I think that would be something to touch on. But for now, if you're interested in seeing what the Eagle looks like that we have in the museum, and it is a beautiful, beautiful specimen. It is believed to be the
gorgeous car.
Yeah, it's believed to be the earliest unrestored AMC Eagle that is in factory condition.
I don't know. I found another unrestored one last week.
Was it an 80?
I don't know. It was sitting in a scrapyard. I couldn't see a whole lot
unrestored.
on it.
Yeah, it was probably had something sitting on top of it or something.
No, it was on its own.
Oh, okay.
It was on its own. If I go back there, I'll take some pictures.
Well, we're glad to have it back. There are some pictures of it on our Instagram account, which is Museum of Off-Road Adventure. Well, that's not the Wheelin account. It's the Museum of Off-Road Adventures Instagram account. And there's a underscore between every word. When it was originally set up, it's kind of a weird way, but if you start typing it in, you'll find it.
Don't send them online, though. We want them to come in and see it.
Well,
and then they get
to
see all the other cool stuff.
I would prefer them to come in and see it because pictures don't do it justice.
Oh, no. It's an absolutely beautiful car. Well worth the drive even just to see that.
Yeah.
It's seriously cool.
In museum minutes, I think that was about it with the museum. We just had our last board meeting. I know that we were talking a lot at the board meeting about getting ready for Wheels in the Woods. We've got that coming up.
So I'm working on one piece. We might have a nice custom-built sandrail in there.
Very cool.
So, yeah, we're working on that.
Yeah, that's that. I'm looking forward to that. I think I saw it a long time ago.
You've seen one of the variations. It's undergone a few changes in the past few years.
Oh,
The current rendition of it's pretty sweet, though.
Yeah.
So I guess the only question is going to be if we want it with the paddle tires or without.
I say with.
Should be able to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, that'd be kind of cool because you can show visitors to the museum. You can say, hey, this is what is beneficial for sand.
Oh, yeah.
And although, all right. So story time. We always have a few of these in the middle of an episode. My buddy Bob. You know Bob.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's on the board of the museum.
Yeah. I know Bob.
Yeah, of course you know Bob.
I don't know Jack, though.
Oh, okay. Well, Bob used to have, I don't remember what he called it. He had this Exo Cage Toyota mini truck.
Nice.
And he's taken it to mud bogging events. He took a set of paddle tires, put them on the back of that thing for the mud. He said it didn't back up very good, but in a straight line at the bogging events, it just did great.
I believe it. That thing it's weird to ride in that with the paddle tires not on sand, but on sand,
Yeah,
Ooh, that's sweet.
really, really digs.
Yeah, I'll throw up a serious rooster tail.
So, going on from that, 4x4 news. What else have you seen? I've seen a couple things in the news, but do you have anything that you wanted to touch on today, John?
Not that I can think of. I've been kind of absent in a lot of that, any social anything as of late.
A couple that I wanted to touch on in 4x4 news. We spoke a little bit in the last couple episodes about some recall issues with GM vehicles and with some tires and things like that.
Oh, right.
Did you see the one that was in the news today?
Oh, I haven't even been online at all today.
3.5, I think, billion, maybe million, but I thought it said billion GM vehicles are being recalled due to a faulty brake booster.
Good Lord.
They have I think it's an electronic vacuum pump for the brake booster. I know they had it on the Chevy Trailblazer back in the day.
Interesting.
And I never was a big fan of the design. And something is failing, and they've already documented something like over 50 accidents, like fatal accidents because of it. And so that's a pretty big boo-boo on GM's part.
That concerns me. I just finished swapping in the brake booster on Project XJ.
From a GM?
No, it's from a WJ Grand Cherokee. But
that's not going to be part of the recall then.
No, it just makes me concerned. I got to double check and make sure I'm doing everything right. Because it's the boosters from that, proportioning valves from a 2000 XJ. The guts in it are from a 94 ZJ. So it's a Franken brake system too on this thing.
Oh, man. You and the just mixing and matching of parts. It's just crazy.
It'll be worth it in the end.
Yeah, I guess so. My projects have been... We already talked about this, our projects, didn't we?
A little bit.
Project Excursion, I really didn't talk much about.
No, that one you haven't touched on.
The tires have got to go on it soon.
Yeah. Wearing out the others?
Yeah, I got a pretty good wobble, almost like death wobble, but it's a tire wobble, I can tell.
I just had mine rotated and balanced on Pegasus, and that made a huge difference. I couldn't believe how much of a difference that made.
I did that last oil change. Mm-hmm. And I did it at the Ford dealer because I had lifetime rotation and balance.
Nice.
And I went in and I said, listen, hey, I got a tire that's out of balance again. And it's happened a couple of times since I've owned it. Yeah. And I think I'm just knocking the wheel weights off-road. Mm-hmm. So it's not a problem with the BFGs or anything like that. But I go in and the guy's like, all right, we'll balance them for you. And he comes back out a little bit later and he goes, yeah, we're not balancing those tires again. And I said, what are you not balancing those tires again? He says, those things are so worn out. He goes, there's something going on. He goes, we had to put so much lead on your, and I know which one it is, driver's front. And, so they're getting very, very thin. And now there's a wobble. I can feel it in the steering wheel going down the road. And so it's time. It is definitely time for Project Excursion.
They all get there eventually, unfortunately.
I was really hoping to see if I could beat the record of the last set of all-trains that were on it, because I think the last set got almost 120,000 miles.
Nice.
And these ones just are a little over 100 now, but probably harder driving.
I'd thought about working those. If you recall, last episode we talked about the tires, because we were swapping so many tires around. I was hoping to get a little bit more use out of those Michelins that I have on the roller wheels. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found a couple bulges, so they're no longer usable on the road.
You talking like the bulges where there's those weird air ones that goes out the side of it and it's like a big bubble?
Yes.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, I've got one on one of the wheels that I found.
Yeah, those always remind me of like the bubble you get in the crust of a pizza.
Yeah, but they taste much worse.
Oh, yeah.
They're a lot more chewy.
Terrible. Very chewy. So... news, there was something else I wanted to mention. Now I can't remember what it was, but and nothing greatly important, but something I remember reading somewhere. You don't have anything else in the 4x4 news?
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head. I said I've been kind of absent in a lot of social networking, social media stuff.
Where have you been?
The garage.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
It's better than saying the bar or bed or or work.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Speaking of work. All right. We're just do a side note here for a second. So, I want you to promise me something.
Okay.
And maybe I'll promise you the same.
Well, I can't agree one way or another till I know what it is.
Well, if either of us ever end up in I was in an old folks home today. Mm-hmm. Okay, for work, and that was fine. It was a decent place. Nothing wrong, but I want to promise you something.
Okay.
This one, they had like a wing because they had people escape.
Oh.
So I don't know if it's
Interesting.
Alzheimer's or whatever, but you had to enter a code to go in and out of
Yep,
the building.
I've been in one like that.
Okay. And there was like multiple levels of it.
Yep.
And the guy's like, at one point, I had to bring some tools in and out, and he's like, we need someone standing by this door at all times. He's like, because they will disappear quick. He's like, they'll just shoot right out.
I believe it.
So I need you to be my accomplice to let me escape.
Oh, we're going to shake on that right now.
Okay, all right. All right,
Absolutely.
we're shaking on this.
Your witness, producer Andrew.
And I'll be yours if you go in first.
If
but
the Alzheimer's and dementia doesn't set into any of us, this is our promise.
yeah, this is what we're going to do because, it's just not fair. Somebody needs to help you escape.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You have to distract, the guard. And
Pull up with the Jeep and
Yeah.
say, get in, we're doing redneck things.
Yeah, I like
it. So that's what we're doing. But
I like it.
so yeah, I just saw that and I was like, man, it's almost like a prison, man. I couldn't do it. But
Yeah.
But it has really nothing to do with Wheelin. But
No.
it was. What else is in the world of 4x4 stuff? You're working on Project XJ. You're getting.
I've been just a lot of work on that, researching minor problems I'm running into to find the best effective way to handle some of these situations, and planning and replanning. A lot of what I planned 10 years ago or whatever it was is not going to work, or I've changed a couple things since then, not realizing what else it changes. And that's kind of coming back to bite me.
You need to go back and
So-
listen to. There's an episode of a podcast, and it's called Project Procrastination. Maybe,
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, maybe you need to listen to that one.
Yeah.
Take a little bit of your advice there, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, I'm working on it. I'm getting it done. I'm getting it accomplished.
All right.
It's just one of those. It's like, well, this came up. Oh, well, so I have a list. I've got a work list. And as I complete things, I delete items from the list.
Yeah, I do the same thing. It's like a honeydew list, but the problem is you
Yeah.
put more things on the top of the list, and the list gets
Well,
longer and longer and longer.
So my list was emptying.
Okay.
I got this and this and this done. So delete those 3 things. Delete these 2 because that's related. And I got to the bottom of the list, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm missing something. And choosing the radiator that I decided to go with, now I got to figure out coolant temp sensors. The upgraded version doesn't have it in the radiator anymore.
Just drill a
old
hole
one-
and JB weld it.
It might happen.
I'm just saying. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a way of doing it.
I'll find a way to make it a bolt-on still. I'll do it.
There's something else in museum news that this really isn't news, but it's a museum. It's a museum problem.
Okay.
I don't know if you're aware of this.
I don't know.
I think there's a possibility that we have a gremlin living at the museum, and I'm not talking about
Really?
an AMC gremlin.
No, one of those little furry things you're not supposed to feed after midnight.
One of those or an elf or something. I'm not really.
Oh, I want to
sure.
trap it.
Yeah. The entire south row of vehicles in the museum, and this is the south row is 4 or 5 vehicles.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, that's got to include one of mine then.
It does include yours.
Uh-oh.
Okay. The entire south row, about every 3 weeks, every single vehicle in the south row, the driver's side front tire is flat.
Interesting.
And the military vehicles that were there, that are gone now, were the same way.
Huh.
I cannot figure it out. What are the chances that they have an air leak on the driver's side front tire on all of these vehicles?
Astronomical.
Yeah, I don't
I
know
think
if
we're
the
going to have
number.
to set a trail cam up or
There-
security
well,
camera
there
or
is
something.
security cameras in there. Maybe I need to go back and look at the footage.
Yes.
They're
If
not like
there's-
flat, but they're like half flat. So it's not like someone's going and deflating them.
So we're either going to need some live traps and a shotgun, or we're going to have to get a priest in there to exorcise the demon.
So I was telling the owner of the the Eagle when he came back about it, and I says, you're putting it in that row, and I was like, I'm going to be watching that tire because if that tire starts to go flat,
There's a way we can test this.
okay.
We have to remove a vehicle from that row. See if it still goes flat.
See if it goes flat. If we
Just
put
move it.
Just put it on the north side.
Yeah.
Might have to do that.
Yeah. Except then if all those tires in it, we know that's the problem vehicle.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't figure this one out.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just weird to
interesting.
me, which means we're going to have to get an air compressor for the museum because I've been hauling tanks down there and it's just not enough. We need to.
Or just take the valve stem out and fill them all with self-expanding foam. Problem solved.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah. Jeez.
Might be hard to balance, though. All right, maybe don't do that.
Oh, man. John. We're such rednecks on this episode. It's bad. But why don't we take a quick break, and when we come back, talk about a few more things.
Sounds good to me. See you in a bit.
Hey, it sounds like it's time to swap out that old engine for something better, John.
Yeah, man, but I have so much into my trans and transfer case set up already. I don't want to change those too.
Sounds like you need to call Quick Draw Brand Adapters. They specialize in conversion bell housings for nearly all diesel and gasoline engines, including the new 2.8R Cummins.
You know, I like weird engines, though. I want something different.
Then you definitely need to visit QuickDrawBrand.com today. They have those hard-to-find parts. They also have used diesel engines available. You can call them at 513-446-9654.
Cool, I'll do that. See what they have. Thanks.
And we're back, folks. I'm Keith of Thin Line Off-Road, Keith Codette, and
I'm Johhny Orange of Johhny Orange.
yeah, that's the old Johhny Orange.
I need a better of.
Yeah, we'll figure that out someday.
Yeah, I got to name the garage or something so I can be of that at least.
So did you see on any of the social, well, it'd be Facebook, that you and I are on, because we're friends on there. And
We are?
we are? I thought we were. Did you see that our mutual friends, and I'm not going to say their full names because they are kind of private people, but J and A, you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Did you see they lost their puppy?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, she was.
Aw.
Yeah, she was. I don't know, 10, 11 years old, German Shepherd.
Aw, man.
And so they're
that was
pretty
about
sad.
when we lost ours.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that, guys.
yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah.
It got me thinking about, they've had dogs as long as I've known them.
I was the same way up until my last one.
Now, this German Shepherd that they had, they traveled with a little bit here and there. They didn't do like a ton of traveling with it.
Yeah.
Prior to that, they had a yellow lab.
Okay.
And they used to travel with, I think her. I don't think it was a him. They used to travel with her quite a bit when they were a younger couple without any kids. In fact, they used to, she'd ride shotgun in the pickup truck all the time.
Nice.
Well, yeah, until you go through the McDonald's drive-thru and the dog decides that what's in the McDonald's smells good and goes through the McDonald's drive-thru window.
Oh. See, worst I had, mine jumped through a window. I went to the hardware store, and my mom drove me up there with the dog as we wanted to give the dog a ride. I went in. He was standing on the window switches, rolled it down, and ran in there after me.
Oh,
and that
okay.
dog had a little bit of an aggression issue. Didn't like to listen at the time. Right in Main Street in Memphis. So I was like trying to get him without him running out, hoping he's going to leave everybody alone. It all worked out for the best, thank God. But yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. So you were walking in Memphis, your feet's 10 feet off the ground?
Pretty much.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my God. It just got me thinking also a little bit about traveling with pets. I've known a number of people that have traveled with pets and off-roaded with pets.
Nice.
Have you ever take the dog out with you on the quads or in the Jeep or anything?
He used to like to run next to the quad.
Okay.
He had a lot of energy, and I'd top that thing out, he'd be right there neck and neck.
Okay.
So he'd be nice and tired after that. But
Well-
no, I used to take him on, rides and stuff, going down a few trails. Nothing too hardcore or anything.
Yeah. Mostly we're going to be talking about dogs here, but,
Yeah. You could bring a cat.
a lot
I
of
guess.
people off-road with their dogs.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I don't think I've ever seen anybody off-road with an animal besides a dog.
Something to do with horses, but
Well, the
that's
horse-
kind of the mode of transportation,
Yeah,
so it doesn't really
the horse
count.
is doing the off-roading
Yeah, same
for
with
you.
donkeys.
Yeah. Okay, I've done that. I'm not a dog owner. I'm a cat owner, and I
I'm
love
sorry.
dogs. But well, you have a cat too.
I
so,
know, and I
yeah.
post all kinds of pictures of him. He's
Yeah.
a cute little bugger.
Yeah, he
But,
is.
No, I'm a dog person at heart.
But I get thinking about and I've been on a lot of off-road trips in the past where people have had dogs with them, and I have seen great experiences with that, and I've seen not so good experiences with that. Now,
Yeah.
fortunately, I've never seen the animals get hurt or anything like that.
That's good.
Okay. But
Say, if we're going to talk about that kind of episode, I'm going to go home.
no, nothing like that.
No.
And this isn't even going to be a whole episode. This is just
Yeah.
you and I talking kind of the
Oh,
end,
yeah.
but I know it's something you and I had talked about a while
Yep.
ago. Some of the things that I have seen, on a positive side, I have a good friend who now lives in Alaska, and he used to travel or off-road and go wheeling. He had a full-size Ford Bronco, and he had one of those, I think it's a Husky or an Akita, one of those big fluffy Alaskan-looking
Yeah.
dogs.
Yep.
But he lived here in Michigan in the Upper Peninsula, and he would take that dog everywhere.
Nice.
And he was the most responsible pet owner for off-roading I've ever seen. He had the back area had a like not a cage, but it had like a barrier area. He had a harness for the dog for if he got into the rough stuff. So he could harness the dog, and the dog would be safe.
That's absolute must when doing that kind of stuff.
And then every single time that we would stop, he had this portable water bowl, portable food dish, pulled all that out. He would take the dog for a walk on a leash.
Yeah, you definitely want at least one good leash. And I'd have a second as a backup just in case.
Just in case, not a bad idea.
Yeah.
And he would take the dog, and the dog would do his business, and he would pick up the dog stuff,
Yeah.
and he would pack it out.
Nice.
That is the most responsible pet owner on the trail.
Absolutely.
On the flip side of that, I used to wheel with another guy. He had this big black Jeep that was built up and whatnot. And I didn't know him very well, but he was on several trips I went on.
Yeah.
And he would travel with 2 or 3 large dogs in this Jeep Wrangler.
Whew. In a Wrangler?
In a Wrangler, along with his wife and at least 1 or 2 of his kids.
How?
They were all on top of each other.
Yeah.
It looked, the kids would get out. They would be crying and screaming about the dog's claws scratching up their legs.
Jeez.
Because he didn't have harnesses on them, and the dogs would be jumping back and forth in the Jeep.
Yeah.
They'd get out. They just let the dogs fly anywhere.
Ooh.
And, there'd be people there, other small kids who are afraid of dogs. And things, not on a leash. These dogs are just running wild all over the place.
Especially bad if you get some of those people highly allergic to pets. Ooh.
There's that, too.
High risk.
So, it's a good idea if you want trails to stay open and you're going to bring your pet with you. I'm not discouraging you from bringing your pet with you, but to be responsible about it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Pack out the pet waste.
Yeah.
Bring those harnesses. They make harnesses for the dogs for the car.
Yeah. Good water, food.
Exactly.
And make sure you have enough water. Some of those dogs, especially when it gets really warm, they're going to go through a lot of water.
Oh, absolutely. And that was, our buddy Lucas was stuck on that 3-day trip in Canada years ago where they didn't expect to be stuck for 3 days.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was pets on that trip, but, if you go out there and now you've got, large dog might turn on you in 3 days and eat you.
I would hope they're better trained than that, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know my cat would.
Well, cat's a cat.
Well, yeah. Also, a cat, a half an hour after it didn't have
We don't own cats. Cats own us.
That's true. Cat would eat me,
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay, so traveling with a cat, I have known a couple of recent situations traveling with a cat. I helped that friend of mine move across the country.
Right.
Remember I told you? Well, she brought her mom with her 2 cats, and they rented an RV, and they had this whole cage thing set up.
Nice.
And they would stop for the cats, and that was very responsible, and everything worked good. That was pretty successful.
Yeah.
My mom, on the other hand, and this is not her cat, but a friend of hers came down to visit her. Mm-hmm. And she has a house in Florida.
Yeah.
A friend of hers drove from Michigan to Florida and decided to bring the cat with them.
Uh-oh.
And the cat sang to them the entire time.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on that. We rehomed a couple cats to a friend of my mom's in Chicago.
Oh, you drove to Chicago with a cat?
With 2 cats.
How awesome was that?
We got to learn how loud the radio gets. It was great.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, that instance, it masked this dinging sound that a car likes to make on the rare occasion when the car starts overheating. Yeah, still not sure exactly what happened. Filled it up with water for the rest, to get us to our destination after finally realized what was going on. Mm-hmm. And it was fine. We got home. We flushed the water, put coolant back in it. Couldn't find a leak. Everything was fine. It was really weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that would get pretty loud, wouldn't it, with the cats and the radio?
Yeah.
And that's something, if you are going to consider taking a cat, you need to know the cat and whether the cat can do car rides.
Yeah,
Drive
a
around
lot
town.
of cats aren't
No.
travel friendly.
No, that's
So
they do make harnesses for them though.
Oh, they do. We've had cats in the past that they'll just roam around the bed. They'll lay on the dashboard, and as long as you're not impairing the view of the driver, that's okay.
But still
but
off-roading, you don't want a loose cat.
No. No, you ever see a cat up in the air, the first thing that comes out is the claws to grab when they come down. You don't want that to be your face. Trust me, that hurts. It's happened.
I want to put a challenge out there.
Uh-oh.
In fact, tell you what. I'll send a Wheelin decal to the first 3 people that post on 4x4 Talk. A legitimate picture. Now, not something they Googled. So, because we're going to do a reverse Google image search on this.
Okay.
We're going to make sure that this is a real photo of someone off-roading with an unconventional pet.
I thought you were going to say cat, and I was going to say I think we're going to have to broaden that a little
Okay,
bit.
I'm going to say anything but a dog.
I like it. Horses and donkeys don't count.
Yeah, no, not riding the off-road vehicle.
Yes.
No. If you've got a cat in your Jeep or an iguana or a snake or whatever that
You've got an iguana in your Jeep off-road, I want pictures of
Okay,
that.
exactly. That's what we want. So first 3 people that post on 4x4 Talk with a legitimate picture that they took of somebody or themselves preferably
Yes.
off-roading with a non-dog pet, non-canine companion.
Absolutely, yes.
We're going to send you a Wheelin decal just for the heck of it.
I like it.
Yeah, let's do that. Pets on the trail. There's not a ton to talk about, but it was just something that we wanted to touch on.
Absolutely. A good bit of information for those who are thinking about it or are going to.
Yeah.
I used to go everywhere with my dog. He was always riding shotgun or sleeping in the back seat on longer rides with me and stuff. And just always had a good solid leash and a backup leash. Walk him when we get there so he can do what he's got to do. Get him some water. I was never out long enough to need food for him. But, if it's something you're going a longer distance or you might be, you're going to want to bring something at least.
You are. Speaking of preparation, there's something else that people don't. I think people that travel with dogs usually would think about this, but maybe they don't always. If you're planning on staying overnight somewhere and it's not your own camper, or even if it is and it's a campground, you need to make sure that it is a pet-friendly place you're going
absolutely.
to. I seen this on an off-road trip a number of years ago. There's a popular place we go to in northern Canada, and it is a campground with a small hotel that has, it's not even really a hotel. I think they have like 5 rooms for rent. Okay, so like a little motel thing on it.
Yeah.
Friend of mine went up with his family, and it was actually the same guy that travels with like 3 dogs.
Oh, okay.
That guy. And the one I was just talking about, not very behaved dogs.
Yeah.
He goes up there fully planning on renting one of these rooms, and he had reservations and everything.
Okay.
No camper with him, nothing.
Huh.
Pulls in. They told him, no, you can't have dogs in here.
Huh.
And they said, no, you can't just chain up your dogs outside either. You're going to have to figure something else out. And I believe on that trip, what they ended up doing was driving like 20 miles away to get a hotel that they could go. And so every morning they'd leave early, come all the way in to join up with the events for the off-road trip, which is a real bummer. So
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so they just, you need to pre-plan that stuff.
Yeah.
You need to say, hey, you call up the place. Can I bring my 3 dogs? Can I bring my iguana? Can I bring, whatever?
This brought, you're mentioning that for some reason popped in a memory in my head. So we got a pet rabbit when we were in Minnesota. We had to travel home with that thing.
I've never traveled with a rabbit, I don't think. How do they travel?
It sat in the cage and just kind of looked around the whole time.
Oh, okay.
Ate the carrots. We kept feeding it.
So maybe they're good travel companions. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they have their own little crate, their own little box. You probably I know you can get a harness for them. I know a guy who actually has a harness and walks his rabbit outside.
I'm
not kidding.
I know a guy that, in all politics and personal beliefs aside, has an emotional support rabbit.
Okay.
I don't know him personally. I know him through a group that I'm involved in that's not off-roading stuff. But I see his pictures all the time online.
Yeah.
And he goes all over the place with this big floppy-eared rabbit.
I'll have him send in some pictures.
Maybe.
Get him a sticker.
Maybe. So he doesn't off-road, but he goes to various events, and you'll see pictures of this rabbit
Nice.
at Disney World, at wherever.
So I'll have to track down. I don't know if we have any pictures of it, but I'll have to... I'm going to have to dig way far back for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a thing to do. I guess I'm not big on traveling with pets. I have pets. We have one cat that takes to the harness okay. She'll go outside. The other ones, if I go out the door, they'll just try to kill me. So
Again, it's a cat.
It's a cat. It's a cat. Anything else you got, John?
I don't think so. Just, anywhere you go with a pet, make sure you're responsible with it. Not everybody's pet friendly. The people even.
Yeah.
You're going to get people who are afraid of them or highly allergic to them. And you just have to make sure you respect, the rest of the people in your group. If they don't want it around, stay away from them.
Fair enough. John, you need to do your thing.
Sounds good. Thanks for listening, and have a good one, everybody.